Hey party people, so today we're going to be looking at solo tanking Alysrazor on 10 heroic. So this fight is probably where I feel the least safe out of any of the Firelands bosses, including Rag, including Belrock. Um, there's a pretty tight damage check component for soloing both birds before the Firestorm, as well as the birds themselves just deal a lot of damage, especially when they become enraged. I won't be looking at any of the other phases, as you should already know how to do those parts before trying this, but it should be noted that if they aren't assigned, you should grab a feather every new set of feathers, as the extra movement speed helps significantly in managing the tantrums, and it helps counteract some of the finickiness of WoW NPCs, right? So let's go back a little bit. The first important change is the positioning for eggs and meteors. When two tanking, obviously you can just stand on your egg, right? With solo tanking, your goal instead is first to not get hit by the meteor as it comes down, because you're going to need to end up where the meteor spawns. And second, to stand in equidistance from both eggs to minimize the chance of someone else getting the fixate. And so this is what it's going to look like. So you're going to stand just a couple yards in front of the meteor, and then you're just eyes on the meteor, right? And if it starts moving towards you, you just instantly sidestep it and go to where it originally was. If it starts moving away, you just move forward, like right here. And then they're both going to fixate you as long as you don't have any range that are too close. And so yeah, dodging the meteor is pretty straightforward. You just have to have the reaction speed to do it. And also, remember to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell. It helps a lot, and I greatly appreciate it, but back to the video. Now that the eggs have actually hatched, you want to slam everything you have to kill the birds. The first three GCDs you use should be Dancing Rune Weapon, Outbreak, Pestilence. This serves two functions. Obviously, it's your DPS rotation opener, and second, it's going to spread the dots to the other bird so that they're both affected by the attack speed slow, and I think you also have a damage reduction component to blood decay diseases. Uh, but anyways, so make sure you're doing that, and then aside from that, you're just pumping into them as normal, right? You want to get out lots of death strikes and just do your rotation. In terms of positioning, you're going to want to hold them, and we'll back up just so. Yeah, I'd say that's about 4 to 5 yards, right? And from there, you're just going to wait until they become unhappy, and then you're going to give yourself an internal countdown of about 3 seconds, like probably closer to 2 to 3 seconds. They're just keep in mind their attacks, the way their enrage works. When they become unhappy, their attacks only have a chance to send them into a tantrum. So obviously, if you dodge your parry, they're not going to go into a tantrum. Um, and also, if they hit you, sometimes they just won't, right? So that's why you give it that couple second grace period, and then you drag the first bird into the worm, and so it eats it, and from that point, you're going to instantly start running towards the second worm, and hopefully it looks something like that, where the second bird eats the second worm before the first bird gets back to you. And at this point, you should be close to killing the first bird. So you finish it off, and you have an enraged bird, and you just take it to the third worm, and then you just want to make sure. So, like right here, the hatchling's low. Make sure it eats the fourth worm before you kill it. Otherwise, it can lead to some shenanigans if there are meteors near it during this firestorm. And so we will pause here just to talk about what happens when things don't go well. So if for some reason you just don't have the damage, um, your only saving grace that you can really do is a Hail Mary. You can try and stand behind the raid here and face it away so that it isn't cleaving the raid, and just hope that you're still lining the firestorm. Outside of that, you just have to make sure it dies on time. And so we'll go ahead and look at the next set. And here I actually do have a feather, so it's a lot smoother for me. In regarding defensive cooldowns, I try to use Vamp Blood as soon as they fixate me every set, just to give myself and the healers a buffer to acclimate to the damage I'm about to be taking. From there, IBF should be used pretty liberally. The moment one enrages, you just instantly pop it because they hit really hard, especially once you have that bleed on you. You'll drop to 50% in a global. Your bleed will fall off, and then you'll get meleeed again and die. If you don't have anything, that's something that can happen. So just make sure you're using your CDs. Slam Bone Shield on cooldown. And honestly, I even use Empower Rune Weapon as a defensive right now because my haste is super high. So I'm not too worried about the runes actually being used for damage. I'm mostly worried about hitting a lull in my rotation where my runes are super fucked and I need healing ASAP. So right now that's how I'm using it. But outside of that, the rest of the fight's the same. Just make sure you're the closest person to both birds, make sure you have the damage, and make sure you don't die. Remember, it's basic tank shit, but use healer externals if you need them, right? Um, and yeah, hopefully that helped you guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.